I remember when the sky began to burn, not with the light of God's, but with man's own thunder. The Air Force called it strategy, but I knew it was the sound of a species testing the limits of its own creation. Silver B-29s rose from Pacific islands that had only months before been quiet reefs. They glittered under the sun, carrying the breath of a continent determined to end another. From high above, the world looked calm, blue ocean, white clouds. But beneath that beauty waited a land marked for erasure. Each bomb had a name, a purpose, but no conscience. Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya. Names became coordinates. I felt their impact through every contrail across the blue. In Burma, British infantry pushed through steaming jungles. The monsoon turned the ground into red mud. U.S. fighters roared above them, angels of steel and fire, strafing, protecting, destroying. The soldiers below fought the jungle itself, humidity, fever, exhaustion. Every leaf hid death, every shadow, memory. And then the oil fields of Borneo burned. Bombers flew in elegant formations, turning green paradise into black smoke. The jungle's symphony, birds, rain, life, was replaced by explosions that shook the earth. Somewhere, a barefoot child ran through the ash, not knowing which flag the planes belonged to. That was progress. Factories of war dismantling factories of oil. In the Philippines, General MacArthur returned. "I shall return," he had promised. And he did. But when he walked through the ruins of Manila, victory felt hollow. His boots crunched on glass and bones. He saluted flags, but his eyes betrayed the truth. Triumph is only another form of loss. Then came Okinawa. Generals Doolittle, Arnold, Whitehead stood amid twisted helmets and rusted guns. Around them lay silence, broken only by the wind over graves. The sea had turned into a cemetery of ships. The air, a furnace of planes. Still they planned, drawing red lines on maps, preparing the final storm. Saipan followed. American Marines stormed its beaches through fire and screams. From the cliffs, entire families leapt into the sea rather than surrender. The airstrip was captured and repaired. A scar turned into a weapon. From that scar, B-29s took flight, their silver wings carving the sky. They became ghosts, invisible until they returned, empty and haunted. Iwo Jima, a tiny island that swallowed thousands. Marines crawled across volcanic sand that burned through their boots. The air stank of sulfur and death. Japanese soldiers fought to the last breath. On Mount Suribachi, a flag was raised. The world cheered. Cameras captured the moment, but I saw the truth. Exhausted men, smoke, silence. Victory never looked so tired. When the dust settled, the earth was silent. The B-29s returned home, their bomb bays empty, but their souls heavy. They had prepared the stage for humanity's greatest invention and its greatest sin. Los Alamos, New Mexico. The desert slept under a quiet sky. Then came a light brighter than dawn. Scientists watched, their faces lit by the fire they had birthed. The sand turned to glass. The air screamed. In that instant, humanity, understood I had built something that could erase me. The generals cheered, the scientists wept, and I stood still, watching the flame climb toward the stars, wondering if it would ever come back down. I remember the night before the end. It was quiet, too quiet for a world at war. The ocean was black, calm, as if holding its breath. Above it, silver bombers moved like slow constellations, each star humming with intent. They said it would shorten the war. They said it would save lives. But I, humanity, have heard that excuse before. It's what every empire whispers before it lights another pyre. The first bomb left Tinian Island just after dawn, a massive machine, the Enola Gay, slicing through clouds heavy with rain. Inside, men checked dials, adjusted levers, spoke in small, trembling voices. They had been trained to perfection, soldiers of physics, servants of fate. Below them, Hiroshima stirred awake. A girl in a blue dress fed her canary. A baker opened his shop. A teacher chalked the word peace on a blackboard. And then, at 8:15 a.m., sunlight lost its meaning. The bomb fell like a slow heartbeat. The world blinked and then ignited. The sky became white, the ground melted. In a single breath, 70,000 lives vanished, vaporized before a scream could form. The river boiled, shadows clung to walls, perfect silhouettes of people who were no longer there. It was beautiful in the most horrifying way, like seeing creation and destruction share the same light. I wish I could tell you the wind stopped, but it didn't. It carried the ash, children's was, pages of diaries, whispers, across valleys, into the sea. Somewhere a mother searched for her child under a rain of black snow. Somewhere a doctor with no medicine tried to comfort the living who envied the dead. Days later, Nagasaki, another dawn, another silver bird. They had almost skipped it. Clouds covered the city, a cruel act of mercy. But the bomb found its gap, as if destiny insisted on symmetry. The explosion rolled through the hills, over churches and shipyards. A crucifix melted. Faith and science both turned to vapor in the same instant. After the second flash, the world hesitated. Not out of compassion, but calculation. The maps changed again. The emperor spoke, his voice breaking through static. The war was over, they said. Humanity had won. But I felt no victory, only exhaustion. Across continents, soldiers dropped their rifles. Families wept into photographs. Scientists stared at the horizon, wondering if the world they just saved was the same one they destroyed. The newsreels called it the dawn of peace. I called it the beginning of silence. In Tokyo, American officers marched through ruins. Children bowed to them, barefoot, hollow-eyed. MacArthur returned again, the conqueror of ashes. He spoke of democracy and rebuilding, standing before cities that looked like burned paper. Factories rose where temples had been. New flags fluttered over skeletons of buildings. Men in suits replaced men in uniforms. But the ghosts remained. They lingered in the rivers, in the stones, in the eyes of widows. You could feel them even years later, every time someone looked up and flinched at the sound of thunder. In Washington, medals were pinned, speeches made. The greatest generation, they called themselves. Perhaps they were right. They had built something truly great. Power beyond gods, terror beyond measure. But they also built silence. A silence so deep that even decades later, humanity still whispers when it speaks of fire. At Los Alamos, they tried to celebrate. There were cigars, champagne, forced laughter. But the scientists couldn't stop staring at their hands, at what they had done with them. One of them whispered, "We have awakened a sleeping god." Another corrected him, "No, we have become one." When I, humanity, looked down from the stars that night, I saw two worlds, one glowing with electric light, rebuilding, dreaming again, the other still burning inside. And somewhere between them, I saw my reflection, proud, terrified, unstoppable. War had ended. But peace was only a pause. Already the next bombs were being drawn on blackboards, bigger, cleaner, colder. The atom had opened its heart, and inside it was infinity, both creation and suicide waiting for a single choice.